idea of power and influence and what you should do with it is an interesting topic that explored in the film. So this is directed to Don. So should everyone with a platform be obligated to use it to better the world?
I don't know if anybody should be obligated. I think it has to be based on what you want to do, what interests you, what moves you to action. I don't think it's required by anybody to do anything, but hopefully, you know, through stories like this and other activists, people that are out there that are using their voice, it can inspire people that maybe are standing on the sidelines to become more involved.
So do you think that fame detaches celebrities from society, giving them maybe a sheltered view on current issues? This is more of a general question for everyone.
Wait, say that again?
So do you think fame detaches celebrities from society, giving them a sheltered view on current issues?
A sheltered view? I don't necessarily think it's sheltered. I think that, I mean, they're definitely set apart from society. And going back to your first question in terms of power, I would flip it into responsibility. And I'm much more extreme than Don is, in that I feel like, you know, rather than having power, there's a sense of responsibility that not just celebrities, but just anybody who has benefited from one system or another, you know, because we live in such inequality in terms of systems, that if you have more than another, whether it's, you know, responsibility, power, whatever you want to call it, I do think that there is some sort of, you know, connective tissue that should compel people to do what they can. Again, I come from a very different background where it's sort of like, you know, your impact is dependent on the community and vice versa. It's, you know, I'm, you know, was raised in a very Asian household. And I think, you know, I've always been raised with the sense of, if you have more, you are responsible for others to make sure that others have equal amounts or are supported and helped when they don't.
Did anyone else want to chip in?
Well, that was a good answer, Anne.
So
Yeah.
During the film, Sean mentions that governments tend to skip the first stage of response. So what level of response should we strive for when a catastrophe happens?
So fascinating, and even seeing this so much so now in the United States, is I think that all of us who, you know, are usually removed from the space of disasters kind of automatically think, especially in our own hometowns, that some other entity, they've got this, right? We have, you know, FEMA, we have Emergency Management Agency, we have the police, we have the fire department. And what we find time and time again in every single country, including our own, and what we're seeing here now, is that nobody's got this. You know, Shawn said it before, most recently in an interview, you know, there is no cavalry. We are the cavalry, not core, but us as human beings. In every single disaster, the first 24 to 48 hours, the lives that are saved are the ones that are saved by family members and community members, neighbors, friends, and, you know, just basically your immediate surroundings. So when you realize that, you know, the expectation of, you know, somebody's going to come and save us, I mean, that kind of goes out the window. And I think that again, just puts more onus on us, on each of us as individuals, to know how we can contribute, what we should be ready for, and how we should be prepared, and how we should be thinking about what our family unit is and what our community is well. And I cannot stress it enough, seeing this in the United States, this absence of government, this failure of government, that there is no cavalry. It's just the people around you that you need to really, really look at.
Okay, so why do you think humanitarian responses in developed countries are dealt with quicker and more effectively than developing countries, even when there are NGOs and celebrities present?
Did you want to say something?
Go ahead. I was just going to say that, you know, one of the things too that I feel happens is people, you know, they wait because especially in our country, I think it's like, oh, they got this, you know, like we're waiting for somebody else to step in. So have you, like, if you ever been in a meeting with a record company and they're listening to music for the very first time of an artist that they're going to sign, you'll notice that nobody will speak up and say anything about the music. They'll all be waiting for someone else to say something because nobody wants to make the wrong move, say the wrong thing, or say yes when the other people are saying no. So it's very reflective if in our culture to sit there and wait for people to, oh, they got this, they'll do it. Are we supposed to respond? Are we not supposed to respond? That's why CORE is like, you are a cavalry, you know, CORE is a cavalry. They do come in like, I mean, I literally turned my head for 2 seconds and you guys, CORE was out there doing way more for our country than the government was, because the government was sitting there with their thumbs up their ass trying to figure out what they were going to do. This film highlights very specific moments of action that I'm hoping will be able to be seen, and people, it will be a call to action. That's what we need to realize, that we don't have to wait for a celebrity to show up. We don't have to wait for this. We can just move forward as a community and as humans, you know, to just jump into action. So for me, the reason I'm, you know, involved in this is because it is a call to action, you know, and it will help. I feel like this films like this, groups like CORE, it will catch on. It is a spark. Hopefully it'll turn into, you know, no pun intended, wildfire. But it's like, you know, right now we need a cavalry and we don't have one. And when we can't rely on our own government, there's a major problem there, you know. But is it shocking and surprising? No.
No, it's not. But to you still, Linda, what did you find most challenging about making the score and the music, and what sort of inspirations did you draw on?
Well, the film was the inspiration. I thought Don did an incredible job capturing these moments, and also, you know, to listen, everybody has some funny story about Sean Penn, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's gonna go, oh, that guy, he's Mr., you know, he's the bully, he's like, you know, boisterous, he's aggressive, he's aggro, whatever. But he's beautiful, you know. Like in for me in the film, I felt that Don captured a very vulnerable, but you get the understanding of who Sean Penn is in this film, because it really answers a lot of questions. He doesn't need to stop and go, this is why I'm going to do something. He just does it, you know. And then we hear crazy stories about whatever, but the truth is the man is driven by passion. And so that was really awesome to see, this other side. And then on top of it, all the work that had to go into rebuilding Haiti, all the work that still goes into it. So I wanted to be very respectful of Haiti and Don and Sean. And so I try to just weave in and out, you know. And the funny thing about the score is it was all templates, you know. When I was going to get the okay from Don and Shawn, you know, Dailey, like, okay, this is it, locked in, we love all these songs, I was then going to go get Haitian artists. I was going to get my percussion players. I was going to get my singers. I was going to get all these amazing people, but COVID hit and the movie had to be done. So what's funny about it, it's all me doing these chants and playing percussions, but in a weird way, it worked that way because it was so much more intimate, you know? So I just wanted to make Sean I wanted to be a supporter to his story, you know, and not get in the way. And I wanted Don, you know, to feel like I was creating and capturing the emotion that he got, you know. So it was an interesting blend for me, and I couldn't be more proud. And I mean, I love this film, and I love the feeling of it. You know, it feels good and it feels intense, super fucking intense. But then it's really like, oh yeah, this is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly what I got from it. And with you, Sean, do you think if Sean Penn still had the kids and wife in the house, as he mentioned in the film, would he still be as invested? And was it maybe a bit of luck in regards to him turning the TV on and seeing the Haiti disaster?
I think it was probably meant to be. I mean,
Yeah.
he's sitting there without a wife and kids at that point in time living with him, and he turns on the TV and he realizes that probably, you know, like myself, if you're sitting around doing nothing, you're going to get yourself in some sort of trouble. I know I do. And, you know, Sean, as you see from this film, he's, like Linda said, he's not waiting for someone to say, that's a good idea, or, you know, he's not thinking, is this going to work or not? He's just a guy, a citizen, who's sitting there saying, something needs to be done. I'm not sure that I'm seeing anything being done. So I'm going to go do something because something is better than nothing. And he happens to be a very inspiring guy, so other people followed. But yeah, I do think I'm a big believer of timing is everything. And I don't really believe in luck. I just believe in sometimes you're in a certain place and you either kind of take the road or you don't. And it leads you to the next thing. And I think Sean was sitting there and he saw it, and typical to form, he got up and he did something. Like Linda said, he's got this image and whatever, but I agree that he's a beautiful spirit. Like, he gets up and he truly wants to help people. In the opening montage of the film, you see Sean towing people in boats. That's not a photo op. I've seen celebrity photo ops. I've been around. I've seen them. Linda's seen them. We've all seen them. We know what they look like. You're not wading in toxic water to help people, risking your own life. That's not a photo op. So I think, yeah, there was a certain amount of, like, had he been in a different place in life, his reaction would have probably looked different. But he's not a guy, from what I understand. I don't know Sean that well personally, but I know his work very well. He's going to do something no matter what. It just, where his life is at is probably going to dictate what that is at the time. And Anne can probably answer that better than I can.
And both you and Dom have recently worked on, you know, The Way Home, examining homelessness, and Underdog, exploring addiction. So do you find it's easier to educate and influence change through film?
Yeah, I think Don, I mean, what do you think? I think Don and I are just always inspired by certain people who take action, and those certain people are always attached to a great organization. I mean, Don has a history of this with many different, the Innocence Project and Guide Dogs for the Blind and, you know, Make-A-Wish and all that. I mean, that's kind of, Don's become organization guy, but it's because the people who do the work are so inspiring, you know? I'll let Don take it from there, but that's kind of.
Yeah. I do think it's, you know, you follow stories where they go. Before I got into making documentaries, I was a journalist, and you're always looking for the people that are trying to do something and hoping to get a window into their worlds. And in this case, I had met Sean through a friend in, say, 2006 or so, when I was trying to do my first independent documentary, and it was a story about wrongful conviction. And this friend championed the film to Sean, just because he was coming off of Dead Man Walking, and he knew he had a real interest in the justice system. And so that's how I first met him, was through that. And he did agree to come on and narrate that film, and it helped push me as a fledgling filmmaker forward. You know, he believed in me at a time when, you know, very few people would have taken that chance. In fact, we did try to get a lot of other narrators and celebrities involved, and nobody would get involved in a story about wrongful conviction, especially when these were crimes against children, some of the worst things that could possibly happen. But he got involved. He supported, you know, the people in that film. It meant so much to have, first, me as a filmmaker involved, but then to have Sean and to validate what they had gone through in that ordeal. And so I learned a lot about his character on that, which leads to a few years later, right after the earthquake happens. And I happened to be with him just as he was planning that first trip into Haiti. and seeing what he was going through, coordinating with the Department of Defense to get a plane to be able to land, and all of the logistics of it, you know, that as a storyteller, you got to follow that wherever it goes. I never expected we'd be here talking about it 10 years later, but I'm very proud that we were able to document it all the way through.
So how did you guys stay motivated throughout it all?
Working on other projects.
It came on later, so I got to be I'm a better cheerleader than I am anything else, and you know, Don was kind of at a standstill with it, like financing and just I think motivation after so many years. And you know, then Ann came in the mix, and then I went down to Haiti, and within, like I've said a couple of times, within 20 minutes of being on the ground in Haiti the first time I went with Don, which I had no intention of being involved in this movie. I just kind of looked at him and was like, dude, you need to do this. And how can I help you? What do you need? You need money, you need musicians. I can only do a few things in life, but I can get this done for you. And I hope that kind of inspired him a little bit to at least go, okay, I guess I got to do this shit a little bit more. But, and Ann was a big part of it too, obviously. So, and the whole end of the movie reflects that. So, yeah.
So this is actually for all three, and Don. And so at what point during lockdown did you think you had more time to show the organization adapting to COVID? And how has the organization adapted?
Yeah, well, I'll take the first part. You know, we thought in January that we had a great ending to the film. It goes from January 2010 to January 2020, and then we were editing it all right when COVID hit, and we realized as we saw Core, Sean's organization, now moving into COVID testing, that we had to find a way to include that. And we were fortunate to have this beautiful song that Linda wrote along with Bono to use over the end credits. That's where it was meant to go. And so it seemed like a natural fit to be able to include the COVID testing footage and bring people, audiences right up to the moment with everything that they've done, and utilize this great song under it. So, you know, as Sean was saying, I think things do happen for a reason. I think timing does matter. And yeah, just very proud of how the film turned out, and certainly the work that Ann and Sean and everybody at Core are continuing to do.
I think that we just, you know, this being here and having gone through, you know, living through Haiti and the earthquake, after living there for so long, it had sort of the same echoes of, okay, our own people have been affected now. You know, our families, our friends, and we can't sit on the sidelines. And it obviously did not look like anybody really knew sort of how to wrap their brains around it, which was perfect for our space. That's exactly where we fit in. You know, we don't pretend like we know anything or everything at all, but what we do know is that we can figure it out with the help of others. So jumping into the space next to the mayor's office and the fire department was a natural fit. We just kind of just jumped in and said, hey, you know, we're faster, you know, we're here, and we have our own, you know, sort of experiences to bring to the table. And they trusted us, and it was great. And I think that it's this space when, you know, there's sometimes a lot of like paralysis of analysis, and people don't, you know, it's either like, well, somebody else, they'll take care of it, it's fine, they'll figure it out. Or it's just like, how do we move? What do we do? Oh my gosh, liability. How do we get civilians to, you know, do testing? All these things that you can kind of get stuck in and not move that first foot forward. Maybe it's just because we're just dumb or brash or take more risks. Whatever it is, the alchemy is there, where we're just kind of like, let's just take the first step, see what happens, take the next step, and then, you know, we adjust accordingly. And we also have, again, the luck of, you know, just having incredible partnerships and support that allows us to do that. I mean, if we didn't have Linda and like the Dons and like, you know, Jack Dorsey behind us, we're like standing on the shoulders of like these incredible people to give us the confidence of like, we're not afraid to fail, because these folk know that it's better to take that step and figure it out and fail maybe, but learn from it pivot and do better than not to than to do nothing at all. So I think with like-minded people, we've been kind of, really well positioned to jump into this COVID space.
There was a point in the film, just to touch on that, where working with other NGOs seems to be quite difficult. Is it a simple process, or how does that collaboration work?
I think it's dependent, it's like, working with government entities is really difficult. They might have great intentions, they have incredible people. There are emergency management agencies everywhere we work, they're incredible partners. We learn so much from them. They support us. They're just very slow. They're bureaucratic. It kind of, they're moving the ship. It's really slow. So we can kind of fill that gap to get things on the ground way faster, and also take the risk away, because, they have so many lawyers behind them. And, we can kind of lower that level of risk for them, because we're like, we're not doing anything illegal, but, in these disaster spaces, there's definitely questions about, for example, when we had civilians who've never been trained in emergency relief coming in to do COVID testing. A lot of traditional NGOs could easily get stuck in sort of, well, what if somebody gets sick? What's the liability? We need lawyers and make sure that they're signing off on like X, Y, and Z so that we're not liable, we won't get sued. I mean, for us, it's like, that's going to lose at least a month. And we're talking about life and death right now. We'll figure that out later, and when you're weighing out the risks of, potential lawsuit for a space that nobody's entered in versus being able to save lives immediately, I think we'll always, weigh this a lot more. So in that sense, working with other organizations, partnerships it's great. And we fill a gap that is needed. But we also know that their roles are also needed as well. It's just different time frames, different capacities.
For you, Linda, the score is really emotive and it really takes you on a journey. For emerging composers out there, are there any techniques in regards to the pacing, and what was the collaboration like with Bono? What sections did you guys work on differently?
Well, this was my first score I've ever done. So Don and Sean came to me and gave me this incredible opportunity. I was just talking about it yesterday, just, because in my world, I've been this, writer for, artists, and honestly hasn't been fulfilling for me. And it can have its limitations working with artists, because they're always chasing, no one wants to be the standout anymore. They just want to chase what everybody else is doing. And so when this opportunity came up, I was like, holy fuck, yes, I've been putting it out in the universe. Like, please just give me a shot at this. And then they did, and working with Dawn was so easy because, again, like I said, it was already there. Everything that I needed to build a score was already there. And all I had to do is watch and listen. And again, like I said, I didn't want to get in the way. I just wanted to support the emotion. I kind of created this like kind of theme-ish thing under Sean Penn, because, there's like these really beautiful, like it'll be a beautiful piano or acoustic, but underneath it, I put this, it's called a swarmatron, and it's just it's a noise. It's like a warbling noise. And I'd call that the pit of Sean Penn, the belly of him. And cause it's really beautiful. And then there's this like undertone that's like, it's ugly, it's aggressive, but you can't hear it, but you can feel it. And that to me described perfectly him, And then when it came time to write a song, the song just showed up. And then I think the guys were like, well, who are we going to get? And I'm like, Bono, and, it's like, I'm going to go after Bono. And then, and I remember calling Bono's manager, and he laughed at me like going, what? Wait a minute. you have some balls, you know, thinking that you could just get Bono to come and sing this song. I'm like, yeah, you know, and anyways, and then literally a week later, Bono's fucking in my studio and he wrote these beautiful lyrics, you know, so I had the song, I sent it to him and he stayed with the melody, but he created far more than I was doing. Like he created, you know, it's like, you know, it hit every point of who Sean Penn is and describing what he's doing and how he is a you know, very passionate and I mean he's like literally in my fucking studio and I just couldn't believe it. So the collaboration was so, let me just say it this way, making this the music and working with this team has been the easiest thing I've ever done in my whole career. And because it was all driven by passion, not greed, not other intentions, not self, it was all driven by how can we participate and bring this to where it needs to be because there's a story to be told. So when you get involved in projects like that, it's always easy. I mean, I know it's not easy, but the connection and the collaboration is easy because now you guys, everybody's on the same page. We have one thing that we want to do that we all agreed on. The intention was to bring our love and our passion to a project that we felt could make a difference and that has made a difference, you know?
It has, yes. But I've got just one more question left. Don and Sean, have you guys started filming Citizen Penn, the COVID years yet?
Well, you've seen the end of the movie, right?
Is there a second part coming, possibly?
Well, there certainly is a story there, absolutely. And Ann and I have talked about it a bit. Sean and I have talked about it a bit. We are capturing it in a very similar way to how we started after the earthquake, where just getting in and archiving this stuff and starting to use it here and there to help, you know, share with news stations, things like that, to just help really get the word out. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have an eye towards trying to do something else. I would have loved to see where it goes, and I really do believe in the work that's being done. And yeah, the end of the story is unwritten, right?
Yeah, so that's Don's now committing to directing it. Linda, will you score it? It's okay. Linda committed to scoring it. So there you go. The announcement of Linda Berry scoring Citizen Penn 2 years. Back in 10 years.
You know what I love about, again, I'm not trying to promote CORE. I just want you to understand that. And I'm not trying to promote this movie by when I say this. But I found that footage at the end when you guys sent it to me so moving because I was with my wife and our kids and we were both going, I mean, we're thinking about going to Canada. We're thinking about how we're going to get out of here, you know, because this government is so, like, we can't rely on them, right? And then to see this footage of citizens, these are not government people. These are citizens. These are human beings. We're all in it. And to see the action and to the force, it wasn't like, you know, a fold out table and some people standing there. I mean, I was like, how the fuck did these guys do this quick? And, you know, and I'm like, Anne, how the fuck do you, like, how do you sleep? Like, what? I mean, they're literally, I mean, if a cat was stuck up a tree, I'm going to see CORE there. You know, it's like, you know, if you want things done, it's weird. It's like CORE is the people that are there to support with no questions asked, with no hesitation. The response is like that. So I was like, how the fuck did they do that? How did that happen so quick? And how did Don and Sean capture it already? Like, how is this? I mean, it's crazy. So I was really moved by that end when I saw all that. And it gave me hope. You know, for a moment, I was like, you know what? I think we're going to be okay. Because if there's more people doing this and we don't have to rely on our government, then maybe we might be okay. Maybe we might be better. Who knows? But anyway, so thank you, Anne, for that. I mean, it really, it gave me a different light, you know, and a different perspective.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, that's, I think, what we are trying to show more and more, that we're able to move fast and do stuff on the ground, because it's not, you know, us, it's the community, it's the people who are already on the ground and already doing it. We're just kind of giving them, like, you know, sort of the form, right? But they're already doing it. So like you said, just every day when when we're looking at sort of the stuff that we see on TV and the news and stuff, talking to these volunteers and staff that just kind of stepped in from all walks of life, that's what gets me up in the morning, because I could get easily, you know, sucked into the rabbit hole of also like, I'm moving to Korea, I am out of here. But it's these like incredible young people that are like, how can we do this better, guys? I just tested out this thing. I want to share it with everyone. Let's get on a Slack channel with all of our, you know, other area managers from across the states, because I have this one little thing that I feel like we can improve. And it's constant. It's relentless. They're just constantly just want to do better, and they're driven, and they're there because they're so, I don't know, they want to do good, you know, and that is not us. It's again, giving a forum for a community. It's citizen action. It's everyday people doing incredible things and being able to kind of give them a forum to be able to do that.
Well, thank you, everyone. Again, well done for making the film. It has and will change the world. Honestly, it's quite inspiring. I actually want to volunteer now.
You
But thank you.
Great.
So how can we get involved, actually? How can we get involved with CORE?
I mean, there's so many different ways. We always need support, you know, on the ground. You know, we're very much open to different varying levels of skill. It doesn't matter. You've never done this before. Again, nothing of what we do is rocket science. You know, we always need more visibility, because that's what helps us sustain the dollars to keep this operation going. You know, up until maybe about like 3 weeks ago, we hadn't received a single dollar from the government, not a single dollar. And we've been doing almost like 1/50th of the United States testing. We have the largest testing site in the United States, and we didn't get it. And still, our testing sites here don't get any direct support from the US government. So that just kind of gives you an idea of who is sustaining this. It's, again, thanks to the folk that you see here that get us out there, that support us. And so more of that would be always put to good use.
Well, thank you.
Hey, Anne, can I ask a question before we wrap up?
Sure.
For the audience for this, which is primarily going to be in the UK, do you have a partner over there that you would recommend people getting in touch with?
That's a good question. We actually don't. We don't have one yet, but always open to one, because we know that, you know, what we've been trying to do is basically create this very simplified system of how to do testing and tracing anywhere. And we've documented it. It's downloadable. It's like an idiot's guide too. And that's something that we keep trying to push out to other organizations. So we have some relationships out there, but, you know, any organization or government entity that wants to do these testing sites, we're happy to provide technical assistance. We're happy to, you know, send people over to kind of like help them set up and give all of our tools and training, all kinds of stuff, which is what we've been doing in the US and opening up in some areas. But I'm happy to also take that to the UK.
Great, that would be fantastic. So please let us know. And pleasure to speak to you guys. Congratulations for being selected again. So hopefully your screening goes well. And thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.